most recent numbers on the dashboard, we can see that we desperately need a solution for our problem. So I built a wall to save our marriage. This video was sponsored by PCBWay. More on them a bit later. The idea that I had for the panel was to have a base and a mid frame. Between these, there will be some heavy-duty drawer sliders. Inside the frame, there will be sound dampening material, and all of it would be covered in fabric. I needed the frame to be light enough so it's going to be easy to lift, but still sturdy enough so it doesn't go bending under stress. In the end, I decided to go with spruce as it's extremely light, plus it's easy to work with hand tools as it's quite soft. I also have to note this is my first time making anything like this out of wood. In the elementary school, I made some shelves and chopping boards and things of that nature, but I've never made anything of this scale. As you can see, I don't have a workshop. All of this is done on the living room floor, so this is really putting a stress on our relationship. I only had very basic hand tools available, so it was quite difficult to get all of the angles correct. The cutting box was all I had in terms of 45-degree angles. Here you can see the gliders. They're quite strong and will extend up to 70 centimeters or about 28 inches. Then, for the outer frame, I used these triangle-shaped pieces to give a bit of a design to the panel. For the actual sound dampening, I'll be using some cotton wool. This is normally used as an insulator for houses, as an alternative to glass wool or rock wool, but it has great sound dampening properties. There are, of course, dedicated sound absorbing materials, and this would be better in every aspect except for one: the price. I could have gone with the best of the best, but as you've come to know from these videos, it's not really the nature of these projects on this channel. The first alternative that people recommend is actually rock wool, but the more I was researching it, I learned that the rock wool actually leaves some particles in the air, and as this panel will be moving up and down between our desks, it's not really ideal. And because of this, the cotton just turned out to be the safer and better option. In essence, the cotton is extremely safe because it's just shredded jeans, compacted, and then cut into squares. It's slightly more expensive than the rock wool, but not by a large margin. And for the fabric to cover everything up, I went with this gray neutral material. I think this is originally meant for couches and other furniture, as it's a bit thicker. It's not ideal for sound panels because of this. Usually you want as thin of fabric as possible, but I can still blow air through it and I can see light through it, so it should be okay. The good thing with this material is that it's quite wear resistant, as it's going to be rubbing against the seals, so it might last a bit longer than a normal thinner fabric. Continuing on the build, we are now attaching the base legs to the gliders. The legs can then move freely in and out of the panel. Then we'll cut the baseboard to length. And here you can see a bit of the design vision with the 45-degree angles and the wood strip in the middle. And then we're ready for the first tests.
No, gotta say, it's pretty damn cool.
Now that the panel was built, I needed some kind of a system to keep it up. I tried to come up with different ideas, and in the end I landed with this counterweight pulley system. Now, if I was back home, I could have just gone to the garage and get a couple of handfuls of rusty nails and bolts from the bucket, but as I'm a city boy nowadays, I don't know where I could have gotten some scrap metal around these parts, so I decided to 3D print a massive tube and fill it with sand. The tube itself already used almost a full kilo of plastic, and when I filled it with sand, it cut up to the 7 kilos, which was exactly at my target weight.
This is my husband's big thing.
Big tool.
Big tool for big boy. Fy ce poate. Bine, pa.
It wasn't much of a surprise because I actually used some math to figure out what size of a tube I have to print when it's filled with sand to hit that 7 kilo mark. And I know, before you go saying, when all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. I've had this roll of ugly petchy lying around taking space for way too long. I'm not gonna use it for anything else. I never have used it for anything else, so this was the perfect opportunity to actually get rid of it. If you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to hit the like button, and if you're interested in projects like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss my next upload. Thank you. As I'm lacking on vertical space, I tried to make the counterweight as long and thin as possible. This meant that the easiest way to hook it up to the pulley system was to hook it up from both ends. This first version was just a simple 1:1 ratio pulley system, meaning that if I wanted to move the panel 70 centimeters up, the counterweight needed to move 70 centimeters down. If you calculate in the height of the counterweight and the slack in the pulley system, I was desperately running out of space here. In theory, brilliant. In practice, this thing sounded like a medieval drawbridge. I needed it to block sounds, not freaking ground. The concept was solid, but the execution was a disaster. I needed a completely new way of thinking about this, but my brain was completely empty. Oh, wait. It's smooth, it's precise. The lead screws on a 3D printer. But where do I get those now? Alright, my old printer at my parents' house. Alright, let's motorize this thing. So with this new system, I'm still keeping the pulley in. The only difference is that I chopped it in half and I changed the pulley system to be in a 2:1 ratio. This means that the weight moves only half the distance, but it also acts with only half of its weight. So now the counterweight cannot balance the weight of the panel anymore, but it will just assist the motors. This makes the lifting job way easier for the motors. So this means that they won't be overheating, they won't be skipping steps, and they'll be just more consistent. Now it's time for the electronics. Again, for this project, I'm going with an ESP32. This seems to be the pattern on this channel, but yeah, I have those lying around, so it is what it is. And on this ESP32, I hooked up 2 stepper motor drivers, one for each motor, so I can control them independently. And this is important, especially for the moments where the panel gets skewed out of balance, so I can actually control the motors differently to straighten up the panel. The first version was hand-wired. Everything was a mess, it was like a bird's nest, I've had missed connections, and it was just too much time spent on debugging and figuring out what's wrong, what's not connected. And this is where today's sponsor, PCBWay, comes into the picture. PCBWay makes it incredibly easy to turn a fragile, hand-wired mess into a clean, custom board. You just upload your design files to their website, or if you're lazy like me, just use their KiCad plugin, and with that, you can upload your design using literally only one click. Choose your options, add to basket, and their team reviews it to ensure everything is perfect. The whole process is done in minutes, and after the review, your board is ready to order. Whether you need custom PCBs, precision 3D printing, or CNC machining, they have you covered. Check the link in the video description to get your own projects manufactured.
We happy?
Yeah, we happy. Now we can finally get rid of this rat's nest. Thanks again PCBWay for sending over these boards. After soldering all the connectors, we can pop in the buck converter to step down the voltage. As the motors take in 24 volts, the microcontroller would fry in an instant if I were to feed that to it. Then comes the most satisfying part, snapping off the front panel daughter board. We hop into Fusion to design the enclosure for the brains. We print it and insert the electronics inside. So now, I have all of the final electronics done. I have a proper nice PCB with the stepper motors, the ESP32, the power supply. It's time to put it all together for the final build. Let's start with the front panel first. It consists of three main elements: the grille, the main body, and the sliding button. Let's start with the grille. It will have lights for up and down, and we can snap in these diffusers to spread the light a bit better. Then on top of the diffusers, we put the LED holders. Next, we move on to the button. It has springs on both sides to keep it centered. It goes into the main body between some rails. And then we screw in the brackets that hold everything in place. On the brackets, we then screw in the daughter board. This one houses the actual buttons and the LED connectors. With that done, we can now attach the grille as well. And then push in the LED lights. The only thing we have left are the side panels. These just screw onto the main body. And there we have it, the front panel done. The last thing to do with it is to just attach it to the front board. Then we can move on to the motors. I've created a bracket for the motors, and on top of it we have an end stop. This is pretty much just the button when the panel is too close to the motor and it will cut the power off. I designed these arms at the bottom of the moving part of the panel, and in here the screw nut will be held. Then we thread the main lead screw through that one, and into the motor. After that, we attach the motor to the bracket and the bracket to the baseboard. Now we have the lead screw in place from the bottom, so we need something for the top as well. For this, I designed this bracket, which houses the bearing where the lead screw will attach to. And here again, we attach another end stop to prevent the motors from lifting the panel higher and off the railings. Then we bring in the power. I know this power system is way overkill for what I need, but I try to always use stuff that I have lying around, so sometimes the builds end up a bit Frankenstein. I had this common power plug that leads into a 24-volt LED power supply, and that feeds into the controller board. Then we slap on the controller, hook up the wires, close it up, It's smooth, it's quiet, and it finally gives us some privacy. And when it's not needed, we can just put it down for us to be more together. There's a lot of things that I would have done differently if I had known the method of lifting already from the beginning. Now I really had to work around the finished panel to make everything work nicely. I know the stepper motors are not really the perfect tool for the job, but I needed to learn them for my next project, and I think that this was a very easy way to get started with them. It's also not the most elegant thing in the world. As I said earlier, I'm not a carpenter and I don't have a workshop or the tools to make some actual nice furniture. Nonetheless, this was an extremely fun project. If you enjoy videos like this, remember to subscribe to the channel. I keep posting projects like this. And while you're there, you can check out my previous video where I build a modular accessory system for cars. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up. And if you have any suggestions on what I could have improved or some future projects, please leave a comment down below. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.